All right, here we are. Episode 4 of Coffee with Friends. Yes, 4. First off, I want to thank you guys as always for tuning in and for being a part of the podcast via Spotify, YouTube. We're on there now, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you consume podcast content. So I just want to thank you guys. Shout out loud as always. Last week's episode, if you're joining us from there, just want to again thank you guys. It was a long one, and it was a pretty heavy one. It could have been difficult for some people to hear. We just want to thank you guys for watching and listening through the whole way. If you did, we heard a lot of really good feedback from people, and we were really glad to know that it was of value. And really, that's the reason why we're doing this. Like, case in point, it really comes down to that. Like, we are not experts in any way, shape, or form about anything. We're not wise beyond our years and have anything crazy and any type of expertise. Like, we just want to share our experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, hoping that you guys can learn from that or just gain some value from that. But with that being said, I want us to jump right into the episode. It is June. And if you don't know, the month of June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. We kind of want to start going into the vein of some mental health conversations. We'll be talking about I Love You, Please Stay. If you don't know what that is, this is a great podcast for you to find out. And if you do know what it is, do you know the full story? Do you know where it came from, why it happened, and where it's going? I threw that last one in.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
That's a good one, though. But I
don't even know where it's going, so we'll see.
I have had thoughts.
There we go. So it'll just be really good. We'll be talking about that, bring y'all into that. And then again, we're going to end off just with talking about mental health, our experiences, and some hopefully conversations we can bring up and maybe bring some value within that kind of sector of humanity that is thankfully in the past couple of years been getting some traction with therapy and you know, self-help and self-care and all that stuff. But we want to really speak on that because it is a very near and dear thing to us in our story. So without a further ado, I Love You, Please Stay. What is it? This is actually Xiomi's brainchild. This is something that she came up with. I'm just her lackey and her sweatshop guy.
If you don't stop, you've never done
anything. I don't print the shirts.
You've done nothing to make you break a sweat.
Let me set the record straight. I have not really ever. Well, I printed some things, but it's really not like this is really all her. I just help with some designs now and then and helping promote it. Really, this is all Xiomi. And something that I just want to support. So I'm going to let you take the floor and just bring us into what is it? What is it? Why did it happen? How did it happen? And we'll go from there.
Okay. I Love You, Please Stay is, I don't know. It's not a movement.
What a great way to start.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's because it's complex to me in my heart because I don't want to call it a movement. I don't want to call it a brand. I don't want to like box it into anything because I feel like it could be so many different things.
Correct.
And in my mind, it's a lot of different things. I could encompass so many things, but for the most part, I think it's just like a place where we can create conversation about mental health in spaces that may not really see the conversation about mental health, but also spaces where it does exist. For me personally, the conversation I would love to start, I think mostly in my heart that like burdens me the most is like the conversation of mental health help in the church. And that's mostly where it is. But it's again, like it's a conflict I fight with because I don't want to be niche to the Christian world and culture because I also want to be inclusive.
I want to be all things to all people.
Yes. And so I don't want to just be like, I just don't want to put out this like highly Christian content and then like it just a whole side.
You lose a lot of people.
Lose so many people. And
sure.
So like that's my battle with it. But at the end of the day, I just want a space. I Love You, Please Stay is more about creating a space to talk about mental health in any capacity, in all spaces, in any space.
Via creative
how do we
mediums,
do that? Yeah,
in this case, clothing.
In a creative way. For sure. For now, clothing.
Yes.
Correct. Just, I think main points, my main points are like, you're not alone. It's something that is big to me because it doesn't matter who you are, like, you're not alone. And I may be a stranger to you, but I'm here.
This is true.
Sam is here. And more
maybe.
more me, I guess. Forget it. He's
No,
never here, actually.
I'm actually
Not even
really
for
not.
myself. No, he's not even there for me. He's not even there for me.
If you were to see what goes on in here,
We don't want to.
in the wise words of prophet, pastor, teacher, apostle Patrick Starr, the inner mechanisms of my mind are an enigma.
You thought you did something
I
there.
really did.
Anyways.
I really did. I'm just trying to make it lighthearted here. Okay?
Anyways, okay.
We came from laments, now we're going into mental health. Ooh, it's pretty heavy. I'm just kidding. Anyway, yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyways, you're not
Guys,
alone.
it's 12 o'clock right now. I'm just keeping it real.
You always have me. I think I even made business cards with my personal number on it because I didn't know people on there.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe I'm wrong.
She's about it, guys.
And anytime, any day, and our like 3 big things is we see you, we hear you, and we love you. And something big for me and with I Love You Please Stay is that like you're seen, you're heard, and you're loved. And those are the things when you come into contact with anything I Love You Please Stay, that's what I want you to take away.
Yeah.
That's what I want you to always remember is that you're not alone, that you
Yeah.
are seen, you are heard, and you are loved. No matter anything. Does not matter at all. And so like that is like my big if you think I love you, please stay. That's what I want.
That's what you want people to feel.
That's what I want them to feel, to
when
know,
they
to remember.
are in contact with
Correct.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, like that's where it is. I mean, I can go into how it started.
Yeah.
Sure. How it started, I just wanted to do it.
This is not
I
gonna
just
be,
wanted to.
If you're expecting like this, wow, like Netflix type
It's
of man,
not.
we came from the mud. We did. But, if you're expecting this grandiose thing, it really wasn't.
It wasn't,
Yeah.
no.
It was a desire that Xiomi had. That desire, though, so to kind of like, let me ask you this, right? So, mental health, it started September of 2021. I Love You, Please Stay.
Yes.
Right. September 10th is International Mental Health Awareness Day, right?
Suicide awareness.
Suicide awareness, yes. And I take it from what I've heard down the grapevine that you have posted something on that day almost every year because you wanted to bring awareness.
For many years. I think starting the year I stopped self-harming really is when I started that, if I think about it far enough. So 2012? 2012.
2012, yeah.
2012.
Life anniversary 2012.
Life anniversary
right?
2012. Yeah. It's the last time I tried it in my life.
Mm-hmm.
December or something. Yes. So since then I would post something, picture, words, something.
Like a post on Instagram and stuff.
Typically a post on Instagram. And I don't post a lot, so it was like getting repetitive and it was getting boring and it was just like again. And like basically my feed was just like lame. And so 2021 came around and I was like, I think I could do something different. And so I literally texted Sam August 30th. I said, I want to print a shirt. He said, huh? I think you were like, what do you mean? Yeah. Classic response. What do you mean? I was like, I'm going to print a shirt. He was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to pick up the stuff tomorrow. And he was like, okay. Pretty much this is typically how things go, actually.
Facebook and Marketplace, guys.
Yep.
Works wonders.
August 31st. This was August 30th at like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
August 31st, I was picking up a screen printer. I was picking up a flash dryer and ink and like equipment from some person who's getting rid of it. It's like super cheap.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was so cheap.
It really was. It was like, the whole shebang, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And I printed a shirt. August 31st, I picked up the equipment. It was like 2 or 3. And I just like started like working on figuring out like what the design was going to be. I had to buy shirts. So like I had to figure out where I'm going to go buy these shirts.
Yeah.
So
where did we get them?
I think
was it in Houston?
Yeah.
I
think we went to
the wholesale spots in Houston.
I think so. I don't think that we did.
In Hillcroft, in the H, repping my hood.
Oh my goodness. I don't remember. I think
it was.
So? You think? I don't remember. To be honest,
It was a lot of work, guys.
It was
I
a
mean,
lot.
it was getting shirts. It was getting. I mean,
Yeah.
thankfully we
Yeah.
had the screen printer. We had all that. It came with some ink, but we had to like. Yeah, I mean, we started from
Yep.
nothing, guys.
So
like, small business.
made the design,
right
made
here.
the things. I stayed up till like 4 building a website. But like I mean everything,
Yeah.
taking pictures, content,
Everything.
all the things just for this one shirt. And I was like, you know what? If one person buys it, great. If 20 people buy it, great. If nobody buys it, I got a cool shirt. Like, great. This is great. It was a $200 shirt, but like I got a cool shirt, you know? And yeah, I did the whole thing. I was like, I was determined to make it. I was determined to drop it September 1st.
Yeah.
That was my determination. I stayed up to like 4. I had like I think a 10 a.m. shift, and I got to work, and it released at 10 when I got to work. I just remember looking at my notifications and just seeing notifications,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is crazy. My coworkers were like, dude, like you're doing it. And I was like, oh my God, it was like this whole thing. And I honestly didn't think anybody but like our moms,
Friends and fam, yeah.
really just like fam, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
I didn't think many people would, and they did. And then I was like, oh great,
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy to see how many people ordered. Like, it was all over the U.S. Like, it wasn't just
Like Texas.
in Houston or
Yeah,
Dallas where
yeah.
our friends and family were. Like, it was all over the U.S. And, like, yeah, like, you know, it was, like you said, it wasn't, like, there was really no ulterior, like, we weren't trying to do it for money.
Yeah,
we weren't
yeah,
trying to
for
do it for
sure.
that. It was like,
I
was
just
you wanted to pull the trigger on something
I just
different.
wanted people to have something where they would think of it, and like it was our OG design.
The OG design.
Or it's
If
like
you have the OG
yes,
design,
you're
you're
real one.
a real one.
You're a real one with the little skeleton hand, with the little.
You can't see it in the, you know, the
Oh yeah, you
format,
can't.
but like we have the sign up there
And the
and
suicide hotline
on the back.
number on the back. This was before they released the 988.
988.
It was before, so it's the 1-800. I don't remember it anymore because now I only give out 988. I don't remember the whole thing, but you do. You do.
I don't sound like
I thought you were gonna.
988, guys. If you need help, call
988
or call
Call
us.
or text. They do text. 988 does
That's
text.
true. But yeah, that was the OG design.
That was the OG, and it was cool. I think my mom was actually wearing it when she came.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
She was wearing she wanted a special pink one, so she got a special pink one.
She got a special order.
She did, but she was wearing it.
Yeah.
She was wearing it. She does wear it pretty consistently.
Yeah, that was the original
Shout out, love your
design.
mom.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that was the original design, and again, like we weren't. It was only 3 colors. It was white, black, and tan.
Yeah.
And it was just that design, and you know, like yeah. So she made the website and everything, and like you know, we had people order in and all that stuff, and that's really like
Yeah.
I mean that's what
Yeah.
happened. And it really just came from this place of, like Xiomi said, she wanted to do something different. That year,
Yeah.
2021. Prior, she would always post things. Right. She also has a book out, by the way.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. Go check it out if you know where it is. If you can find it.
If you can find it, I'll send you $10.
Yeah. But you know, it was I love that. I Love You, Please Stay came from something that you already carried for such a long time. Something that was already in you. You didn't have to find it. Like it was just part of what you wanted to do and who you were. And again, this is just a different medium, a different outlet from which you could share your story and share your heart. And we had a whole mission statement about it, but it was about that. It was like, we exist to like let you know that you're not alone through creativity and fashion. In this case, it was clothing, right? Because I Love You, Please Stay is clothing. We do hats, shirts, all the shebang, right? But it's again, it's the same vision, same mission, same desire, just in a different format, you know. But so that's how it started. I think after that, I remember we had a pop-up, I think, in Houston.
We did
at a church somewhere or
2.
something, or 2. I forgot,
We
because
did
we had
2.
one at Piece by Piece.
That was like an
actual market. And
we
then
did
we did some other stuff.
We did some collabs.
Yes, we did.
We did some collabs. We did one in San Antonio.
Yep.
At a church.
One in Houston.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
We got to it was cool.
It was cool.
It was cool.
Those were good times,
create,
guys.
like pieces, like specific things for them.
For different people, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. We did one in Houston too. That was really fun. And then after those 2, those were the first 2 things we did. And then I was like, you know what? I think we can get into a market.
Yeah.
And there's this massive market in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
It was big then. It's bigger now.
Huge
It's
now.
massive
Yeah.
now.
It's different.
Still accessible though, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because I could still like sign up if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But it was massive, and I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just again. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
Typical Xiomi behavior.
Yeah.
And I found it. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I was poor.
Yeah.
I was living on my own. I was working in coffee. I was like,
this is also this is 2021.
Yeah.
So post pandemic.
yeah. I was feeling very adult,
Yeah.
very broke.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Like, this is gonna be an investment.
It was an investment.
We had to buy. I had to buy everything.
Yeah.
Like,
it was the
like
tent,
clothing racks, tents,
everything.
clothing,
stickers, we made all that stuff.
like everything. But that was really fun.
It was.
I
It was
feel
a
like
good
that
time.
was the first time I noticed. I was like, dang, this is cool. I
Yeah.
see why people do it.
Yeah.
But also,
Yeah.
so much work.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work, but it was also the really cool part was this. Everything prior to then was kind of like people that we knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had backing, and like this was like our first like boom shot in the dark.
Yeah.
We're doing this thing. We're not connected
don't
to
know
these people
anybody.
at all, and this was like our test to see like is this a whole load of hoopla, or is this like legit?
Yeah.
Could this be something?
Yeah.
And like, because we promoted it and all that, but like it wasn't.
We didn't even have. I didn't even have friends in Houston.
Yeah.
Just my coworkers.
So, but we did it.
Who were all working that day because I was not there.
Yeah, but we did it kind of like saying, all right, like if this is something, like literally we're like, hey God, like if you want us to do this, like if this is something that you're breathing on and have graced us to do, then show us by having people come and let's have interactions and XYZ. Like,
Yeah.
let this be the evidence.
Yeah.
And I remember we pulled up, we set up, and people bought stuff. Like people came
bought
in,
stuff.
people bought stuff.
We had good conversations.
Great conversations, and I think that's like the best part.
Yeah.
The best part about I Love You Please Stay, what I really love and miss about these pop-ups, we had one earlier this year, but they're not as consistent. We want to do that more. Is that you get to have that real human one-on-one interaction where people either buy the stuff for two reasons. One, because they think it looks cool, which is also huge and awesome for them to be like, oh, this looks cool. I like it. But then two, people buy it because they're like, whoa, like that really resonates with me, or like that message is dope, or like, hey, like it's just, I don't know. There's that's the
you get to hear
the main
stories.
thing. Yeah, conversations are held,
and that's stories are my favorite part.
You see it in real time. How I Love You Please Stay and the message affects people.
I actually still have connections with somebody we met at that first pop-up.
Would you look at that?
We still like follow and like sometimes interact with each other.
And that's a really cool thing.
Which is really cool because like he probably doesn't even like really remember me, but like I got to see him in that moment and he followed us and it was great. And now like I get to see his life on Instagram and now he's like getting married. It just feels really cool to like, I don't even know you, but I know you because we connected through this same message.
And that's the beauty of, doing what we do with I Love You Please Stay. And again, like we had one, like I said earlier this year in February, and that was really sick. And, as we've been building the community here in Austin, like we're excited to do them again here.
Yeah.
We did, you did one in Dallas. I wasn't there because it was on a Sunday.
It was so hot. I almost died.
That one was rough.
It was tough.
But like, did it back in Oak Cliff Bishop Arts.
I'm going back.
We're going back.
In the fall.
We're going back.
We're doing another one in the fall.
But it was really cool. It was just really dope just to see that happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like, again, I Love You Please Stay is dope because we get to see the interactions in person. Obviously also through social media, like Xiomi said, people who follow us and, DM or whatever, but also just on like a very like right now, what's happened lately.
Sure.
If you follow us on Instagram, you probably see on our stories every now and then when we have community night or coffee with friends or just random hangouts. We'll sometimes pull out the bin, the I Love You Please Stay bin, which is so funny to me. Now it's become like the treasure chest in school. You remember that? The treasure chest in school, and like whenever the teacher pulled it out, you're like, oh, we're eating. Like this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Like I feel
for the
we gotta just
store toys.
We gotta just call it like the I Love You Please Stay treasure chest or whatever, because it's so funny. We don't plan it.
We usually don't.
It's not like, oh, we're gonna do it this day. It's just like, oh, okay, let's do it, and like we'll pull out.
Well, the first one it was Maisie. Maisie.
Shout out to Maisie.
Maisie had been bothering me for a long
you've been
time.
bugging.
She was like, when
You
am
were
I going
bugging.
to get merch? When am I going to get merch? And we just always missed. Like, you would come, we would forget. Like, we just forget. And she came to a coffee with friends.
Yes, the last one we did.
Not this last one. This last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. She came to it, and she was like, where's my merch?
Yeah.
And I went into the depths of our shed.
Yes.
In the scorching heat.
It was hot that day,
It was
guys.
so hot. Also, she got here 10 minutes before we got done.
This is true. It was dope, though. It was fun.
It was fun. Yeah. And I pulled out the bin. And literally, it was like, it was, to me, I was
wild.
like, what is happening?
It was wild.
Because it was not expecting that. And I put the bin in the middle of our living room. And it was like, and I was just like, grab whatever you want. Like, it wasn't even like about, again, like, I don't really care about the money. Like, I'm like, I'm like the last person to care. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah.
And dude, it just went at it. And like, people were taking like 5 shirts.
People got like a week's worth of clothes.
It was like, it was cool. It was
dope.
really cool to see it happen. It was really fun to watch it happen. And in the end, like, that's really what I want.
Yeah, and now it's become kind of a tradition where randomly we'll just pull it out. And we did it last time. We were having like a hangout event on Memorial Day.
We were grilling out.
And then we just pulled out the box and people just grabbed stuff. Then we ended up doing a photo shoot, which
It
we gotta
was so
drop those
funny.
pictures
Yeah, we gotta
one day.
post them.
But it was just fun. And again, like, why are we saying all this? It's to say like, this brings people together. It's awesome to see people's faces and reactions to it. Like, it's just it's a way of connecting with people on a deeper level with a message, because then these people get this stuff. And here's why we don't care about it's free. Here's why we don't care that we weren't charging people and stuff.
Yeah,
because it's opportunities for people that they influence or within their sphere to see the message.
Yeah.
It's free real estate. If you know that meme, awesome. If you don't. But it's not even free real estate. But it's promoting something. You're putting you're putting the message on more bodies for people to see. And that is why we love doing that. That's why we love giving. And I always say the gift that keeps on giving, because it's a gift that, like, you don't, like, again, the amount of times people will walk up or be like, oh, like, what is that? Or what is that number on the OG one, right? And it's like it starts conversations and it starts connection points with people. And again, that is why I Love You Please Stay exists. You are heard, you are seen, you are loved. Another thing that I love what we've done is, you can't see it here, but next to the camera this way, if you come to our house or been to our house, you've seen it on our wall. There's a little kind of like thumbtack cork board thing, which you first brought to your pop-up out in Dallas when I wasn't there. But it's really sick that we have it on our wall, and it's take one, leave one little note for somebody.
That's been the price. I said, if you're going to take something from the bin, you have to leave something on the board.
Yes, because again, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
If
You
you're
give,
going to take a
you
shirt,
receive, you give.
Leave a message.
Yeah, and it's been really cool, and
it's been fun.
It's been really cool to see, and I reread them all the time. Like, we walk past it, and it's super cool because you get to see different people's messages and what they say. And again, that's the whole point, the whole why, the why behind the what behind the why, whatever. That is why we do it. That is where I Love You Please Stay was birthed from. Now, let me ask you this. Where is it heading?
Okay. Hear me out. I think this is the first time I'm going to say this to you, so I'm a little nervous.
I have no idea.
And y'all are the first to hear it. So you're going to hear me just audibly process right now.
All right, here we go.
Okay. I love the name I Love You Please Stay. But after a couple of months, something just bothered me about it. Because, okay, hear me out. Because as somebody who struggled with suicidal ideation, and now looking at it in hindsight, I guess is what you would say. Now looking at it back, if you were to be, if
that
you
was
and I had a conversation,
hold on, that point was aggressive.
Wait, it's because I'm trying to process. I'm trying to verbally say this properly. Okay, I want you to understand what I'm saying. You never do.
Mm-hmm. That was just really funny.
You never did.
She was like,
okay,
I was like, yo.
Okay, because if I was in a place where I was like, I want to do this, and you were like, no, please stay, please stay. I don't want it to feel like you're asking me to stay for you. Like, no, please stay. You know, I battle with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to seem like it's. I guess in my head, maybe I'm overthinking it, but like, no, please stay. It's like, for what? That would have been my immediate response in that moment.
Yeah.
Why? You know? And I don't want it to feel like, please,
Yeah.
you know?
Like you're guilting people into
yes,
it.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's exactly my process. So in that, I have been just like really like praying through this and like, I don't know, like I'm just battling with it and just like switching it to, I love you, I'm glad you stayed. For those who have wrestled and stayed. For those who are fighting and are still here.
Yeah.
Because I'm glad you stayed. And that's I think that's where I'm going with it. And I'm taking it from an ask to, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. I'm so glad you stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Wow. Yeah.
So I know you weren't ready, but like I
don't
don't think I was really. I'm still kind of like I'm still like in that process, but that was just like a piece that I was like, I love you, please stay. It just felt like I don't know what word to put to it.
I mean, you know, I'm all for. This is so funny. You guys are just seeing this happen right now. We're gonna just, you know, this is a little dive into how we have conversations. You know, I'm all for change. I think also when it comes to, it's not just a superficial, just a change, but like a change because you feel like it's a season. I relate to this with like my music.
Yep.
When I went from Break the Silence to Samo, it was a big deal to, I mean, look, renames, rebrands suck, guys. It sucks. It's a long, tedious process, but like, you know, I just felt like I needed to do it because it was like a seasonal change. Like it was like not just a name change. It was like, yo, I'm a different person. This is a different season of my life. Like I want to do something different. And, you know, I Love You, Please Stay has evolved.
Yeah.
And it still is evolving. So change isn't necessarily a bad thing. And sometimes it's needed for new seasons.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, it's going to be I love you, please stay, or is it just going to be I'm glad you stayed?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Come back next week to find out.
Maybe.
I don't know. We probably won't have it by next week.
I don't know. Maybe we'll
see. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's move on now. Disclaimer real quick. I mean, this is probably going to be in the beginning of the video, so you'll probably already know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to just say it anyway if you haven't noticed. But there's no video this week, unfortunately. Reason being, our camera died mid-shot.
We've had a week.
And that is what it is. So, unfortunately, we'll not have a video for Spotify or YouTube. It'll still be up on YouTube. But just audio. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. Literally, that just happened right now. You'll probably already realize and know this because I'll probably put a disclaimer in the beginning of the video on YouTube and maybe even in the
you put in the description.
I don't know, or in the description. Point is, that little split we just had right now is because I just looked over and I was like, ooh, love that. So, unfortunately, no video this week, but we will have it next week and definitely for the one after that, which is going to be really dope. Anyway, moving on. I want us to kind of like do the second half of this podcast, really diving into kind of like just some thoughts about mental health, specifically within the context of the church. Here's why. I think, again, I Love You, Please Stay, like you said earlier, we don't want it to be niche. Like, even with how we say things, how we promote things, how the designs, like they're not churchy, and that's for a reason. I think we're gonna actually go into some interesting segues here about that, because I have some thoughts and I know you do too. But you know, we do want to speak on, you know, the reality of like there is a tension between what is for the church and what is not. This is a conversation I've had for a long time, in particular with my context of music. I've said this multiple times in interviews and videos and stuff like that about like, what are my thoughts on like, am I a Christian artist and an artist that's a Christian? I want to apply that to I Love You, Please Stay. You know, because it's like, again, we're not a Christian brand, but our message is ultimately not just mental health, but it's at the end of the day, and we say this unapologetically when we talk to people, by the way, when we do pop-ups, especially at churches, obviously, and other events, other venues, like, we do this because there is hope, and there can be hope, but at the end of the day, it's not going to just be found in self-care and therapy. You know, again, the whole reason why I Love You Please Stay started was because of our wrestling, toiling with mental health, and the only way it got resolved was through Jesus and through our relationship with him and being connected to a community and a local church. We say that flat out.
Yeah.
But again, I really want to touch on this because I think this is a really big conversation or whatever.
Yeah.
About like, okay, where does God fit, and then where does like humanity, science, you know, medicine, therapy, all those things, where does that fit? And I Love You Please Stay, it's in the middle. It's in the middle. Like, again, we're not out here saying and making shirts saying, hey, you know, Jesus will save you. But the message is there. And we're just doing what Jesus did. So I wanted to ask you, for you to kind of like, what is that when you're thinking about I Love You Please Stay? How do you wrestle with that? And maybe even with people who ask you that or XYZ, like, how do you go about that with I Love You Please Stay?
For me, I know this. I think we had this conversation when we first started to start this podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
For me, I really feel like my purpose, call it whatever you want to call it, I really feel like it's to love people well.
Yeah.
And this is one of those ways for me.
Yeah.
Is showing up for others, showing them they're seen, heard, and loved. And this is just one way that I feel like I could connect with a group of people that I would normally never connect with or have contact with, or people who aren't in my circle, people who I would never talk to otherwise, who pass by. And yeah, I'm not blatantly putting God loves you on the shirt. Well, I could.
Yeah.
It would, what's the word I'm looking for? It would turn some people away.
Yeah.
And those are precisely the people I want to show that they are loved, seen, and heard.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not about blurting out these words, but it's about actually being who Jesus was.
Yes. Yeah.
It's about actually doing that piece.
Yeah.
And this, for me, does that.
Yeah.
A lot. This is cool because I've been like reading and seeing this trend a lot, and it's like the 8-minute rule. And
I'm glad you brought this up, actually.
It just came to me. It's the 8-minute rule. I'm not like super knowledgeable, but I know that like this rule is that if a friend calls you and tells you they need you, you show up for that friend for 8 minutes, and you show up and you're there. Doesn't matter what capacity. If you talk, if it's in silence, if it's in tears, whatever it is, you give them those 8 minutes and the moment passes, and you show up for them in that way. And so for me, I guess I want to be what I always wanted, to be heard, seen, and loved. And when I was struggling with my mental health, which I felt like it was hard for me to perceive or receive those things.
Yeah.
So I feel like God calls us to be, Jesus in this world, and Jesus loved and he heard and he saw those people who were the least seen, the least heard, and those least loved, so to say.
Yeah.
And he loved, heard, and saw every single one of them. And I want to be that. I want to love and see and hear every single person that passes me by. Not just the people in my circle, in my community, in my church, because they love God, but every single person.
Yep.
I want to be that. I want to be somebody they can count on. They can see and be like, you are going to listen to me, even if we believe nothing the same.
And I love that you bring that up, because here's the reality, guys. Again, like this conversation, like, it covers a multitude of things. This is gonna go, this is gonna go into the whole, like, this can go into evangelism and how do you share your faith. If you have a small business, if you in your workplace, your side hustle, whatever. Like, where do you find the line? I think that's a conversation that needs to be had. Because I'm gonna just be very honest, I don't think the Big C Church does a good job of really explaining that you can have that nuance. Like, I know for me personally, that was really tough when I first started music, because I was like in this middle of this tug of war of like, oh, the church wants me to do this, but like my unsaved and unchurched people and parts of me who wants to reach out want me to do this. Like, where do I lie? And I think I love what you said, and I think it really comes down to this. Even when you look at Jesus in the Bible, he never led ever with follow me, I'm God, you need me. He always led exactly like you said, first with seeing people, hearing people, loving people first. Then he hit him with a jab. Said, boom, here I am. I'm the only way.
Yeah.
I'm the way, the truth, and life.
Yeah.
But he always started first with showing people, and again, what we always say, earning your right to speak into people's lives. Jesus exemplified that better than anybody else
for sure.
through his life. Therefore, that should be the example and the template from which we should live our lives with, whether it's I love you, please stay, whether it's music, right? Whether it's coffee with friends and XYZ, your business, your side hustle, whatever. Like, you need to lead from that place. We need to lead from that place, because I think, going back, I'm going to kind of jump back last week's podcast, and I was talking about, the moment you take your eyes off of who he is and put your eyes on the issue, it's robbing you all. It's the same idea. The moment we take our eyes off of this main message, then that's the stupid quarrels that Paul talks about that are unnecessary and actually divide us and divide a church. We're asking the wrong questions. We're looking for things to disagree on. Because if we're focusing on, as I love you, please say, we're going to use that as an example, like, are you guys a Christian brand or whatever? No, I mean, we love Jesus and we follow him. Well, how come we don't see Jesus on your shirts? Like, this is a random example. No one's ever done this. That would be a meme if someone did. But, we can get caught up in like, I don't know, or XYZ, like, but the moment we get caught up in that, we lose sight of it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's as simple as, exactly what you said. We see you, we hear you, we love you. We let that preach louder than our message.
Yeah.
And then we allow that to be the thing that softens people's heart, to then tell them, but this is why.
Yeah.
Because he saw us, heard us, and loved us first.
Yeah.
So I love it you say that, because that's the perfect answer.
Yeah.
It's the best answer, in my opinion. If you don't agree, fight me. But again, I love that, because again, I apply that with my life. I think all of us can apply this in our lives with evangelism and how we share our faith.
Okay.
So, really well said. But I think, so moving in that lane, I want to kind of camp out on that, and I want to bring back and remind me the 8-minute rule.
Yeah.
I want that to be how we end off later.
Okay.
I think that's
For
a
sure.
great thing. But again, just talking on the duality of being a creative and let me just start with this, because I know this turns people off already. Being a creative, we're all creatives, okay?
Yeah.
So don't tune yourself out with what I'm about to say just because I said with being a creative. That's literally all of us, by the way. So don't disqualify yourself with what I'm about to say. I'm not just talking about, we creatives. Like, that's cringy.
It doesn't have to be
That is so cringe.
music or art.
Yeah, it's not about that. Like, we're all creative, so I'm talking to all of us right now. We as creatives, again, we struggle with that. Are we creating for God or for ourselves? Or are we, talking too much about God and then like singling out the one, or
Yeah.
are we talking too much about the one and not, it's again, I think it comes down to the simplicity of this purpose and calling. I had a conversation with someone earlier this week. We all have the same purpose. Simple. We all do. To be with God. Fellowship with him. Don't believe me? Read Genesis right there. To walk with God in the cool of the day. To have communion with him, fellowship with him. That was our whole purpose. Mm-hmm. Our purpose, period, as humans is to be with God, commune with God, to fellowship with him and fellowship with others. Hence Adam and Eve. That is our purpose. Everybody has that purpose. Calling, though, is how that purpose manifests in the specific context and nuance of your life, your story, how God created you, and what he has given you. We have confused in our society purpose and calling. And we've either put them in one box or have swapped them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we have to start there. Again, using I Love You, Please Stay. Is that our purpose? Absolutely not. Is that our calling? No, it's a calling.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, guys. We're multifaceted people because we serve a multifaceted God. So your calling is actually not just one thing. We have multiple callings.
Yeah.
It might be for you to work in vocational ministry. It might be for you to be a software engineer and a developer. It might be for you to be an artist. It might be for you to be an influencer. It might be for you. It doesn't matter. Yeah. That's one facet of your calling. We have many because we're also called to make disciples. We're called to, raise families and raise a next generation. We're called to bring value to the world, to love on people. Like, there's so many callings, but our purpose is one and the same.
That's right.
And I think that if you're listening to this and you're asking yourself, man, like, how do I do this? You guys are talking about I Love You, Please Stay, and you guys are sharing a message that is biblical and godly and, and all that. But like, you're navigating that line. Like, I want to navigate that line. How do I do that with me being at school, with me being in my work, with XYZ or my business or my side hustle? We first have to start with what is our purpose, and that our calling stems from the overflow of that purpose. And in that being said, if you are operating in your purpose, which is being with God, fellowshipping with him, then you begin to walk like him, talk like him, be like him. And then that hand in hand with your calling will bring people into that truth and not the other way around. I'm going to stop yapping. I was going off a tangent.
You were. It was good, though.
I don't know. I really feel passionate about that.
You were, yeah.
Because, again, like, I dealt with that early on when I was making music.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big...
It's a part of who you are.
That was a big, like, area of contention within myself, my family, my friends, and church. It was like, oh, just hurry up. Like, you're being lukewarm. Whoo, man, that gives me PTSD. People saying that. And maybe people say, oh, you're being lukewarm, bro. Like, you got to talk more about Jesus and God in your music, bro. Or you're being way too vulnerable, man. Talking about this. You want to end your life. Yeah. I'm like, dog. And again, like, I think we're using these examples, but these apply to all of us. Yeah. I guarantee you, you listening to this, there is something there that you have that you want to maybe share with the world. And maybe you're paralyzed by fear, because that's the other thing. We could have been, I Love You, Please Stay could have never happened simply by fear. And there's one thing that Xiomi does very well is that she doesn't really give a rip about fear. She just kind of jumps. But fear paralyzes. And, you could have easily not pulled the trigger because people could have been like, oh, like, what is this? What is, I mean? So anyway, I want to throw it over to you real quick though, but like, how, because you explained that very beautifully. How do you wrestle with that tension right now though? And with these things moving forward, with you wanting to do his name change, like, how are you kind of preparing yourself for that? Because again, like, that's a lot.
Okay. I'm going to say something. It's a hot take.
Go for it.
I could be niche Christian culture and pop off. It's easy. It's easy. Right now at this particular time in the Christian culture, it is easy to create something and people will be like about it. I'm just keeping it like 100. That is why all these shirts on TikTok and things are popping off. I know you have some things to say about that too. You're strong. But
they're garbage, guys. Some of these designs are trash, man. I'm sorry, they're cringe, bro.
And
cringe.
I could go this avenue, but they're not the people. They're whatever. Like they love God, they have God, they've been saved.
You're not trying to reach those people.
I'm not. I really don't really care. Really, like
that's good.
Y'all got God. You guys are good. Like you're gonna go experience.
Yeah.
You know all of that in heaven. I'm more concerned. I'm more concerned about those who don't.
Yeah.
And how do I get there?
Yeah, that's good.
How do I reach that? How do I have an open conversation about it? And I'm not the Jesus loves you in the middle of the street girl.
Jesus Christ. We love you, God.
I'm not him. I'm not that person.
Him.
I'm her.
Oof.
Got him.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not that person that's gonna go to the person. If God's like, "Hey, go tell this person," obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm also that's not.
You know your audience.
Yes.
I think that's like step one. I think you're hitting that. You're hitting that. Like step one is know your audience. Right. Like, again, and I'm gonna just say this too. Like, we need both. We need people who are creating for the church, quote unquote, creating for believers, but we need people that are like, yo, I'm gonna go out there into the wild and do that. And everyone has a grace for either or.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is gonna sound so corny. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Here's the thing.
I'm a roast you after this.
You are. You probably are. Yes, believers. But you know what? Everyone's looking for hope.
That's true.
Everyone's looking for hope.
Yeah.
Hope does sell. People want hope.
You're a hope dealer.
Yeah. I told you.
Yo.
No.
No, dude.
I knew you were gonna say something.
No.
But it's the truth.
It's
People
facts,
are looking for something to hold on to.
Absolutely.
Life sucks. Life's hard. Things are tough. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You want to know you're loved.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, don't try to act hard, bro.
Yeah, that was Sam.
I know you want a hug from your bro, dude.
Get out.
Let me hug you, dude.
Sam was like, I don't need nobody. He was that guy. He was like, I'm a lone wolf. I can do it by myself. I don't need nobody. Sure.
Sigma mentality,
Sure. He was the first one that needed a hug. Let me tell you something.
I was the OG Sigma, man.
This man wanted a hug so bad.
Yeah, I would hug myself low key.
You're dumb. But
it's facts though. You're right.
Yeah, but like
facts.
Hope, everybody needs hope. Everybody desires. They want that. And it doesn't have to be Jesus loves you. Mm-hmm. Hope could be you're loved. Mm-hmm. Hope could be there's more for you.
Mm-hmm. Which at the end of the day is what? That's literally what Jesus said. Like literally Jesus to the disciples.
It just doesn't have to be cringy.
Did that, yeah.
It doesn't have to be cringy. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be corny. It doesn't have to be over the top. Yep. It could just be normal.
Yep.
It could be so normal.
Yeah.
Just like the 8-minute rule.
Let's do that. Let's end off with that 8-minute rule. Hit us with it.
So I have to look it up so I can give you all a good definition. That's not me just yapping. So, okay. The 8-minute rule. The 8-minute friend rule is a concept that suggests that when a friend is struggling or in need, they may only need 8 minutes of your undivided attention to feel better. The phrase, do you have 8 minutes, can be used as a code word to indicate that someone needs you.
Wow.
It could be a phone call. It could be a text message. And it could be a way to create a safe space for someone to express vulnerability and seek comfort.
Wow.
That's the 8-minute rule. There's a couple of other definitions there too. But that's typically like what it is.
I love that.
But I think it's important to do undivided attention.
Yeah.
That's important to me.
That's the key word. I love that. That's the key word, and that's the main thing. And I want us to end with that because I love that. It's definitely going to go on a shirt.
Somewhere.
I've been trying
to figure it out.
For I Love You, Please Stay. But I want to end off with that. Do you have 8 minutes? We'll just end off with that. Ask yourself, do you need 8 minutes? Which we all do, by the way. Newsflash. But then ask someone, do you have 8 minutes? And then ask God, do you have 8 minutes?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he does. And allow God and allow people both to actually give you that undivided attention.
Yeah.
Which, here's another, again, I'm not trying to be like too, people will fail you.
It's true.
God will not. But give that, like, ask that question after listening to this. And if you need to hit someone up right after this or text someone and say, do you have 8 minutes? Please do it.
Yeah.
And if you're like, okay, let me like ask God, let me just sit with God and be like, hey, do you have 8 minutes? Can we talk? Can we have a one-on-one?
Yeah.
Do it. And let that be our charge today to either ask for 8 minutes or be the one.
Be the 8 minutes.
Be the 8 minutes for someone because they need it.
Yeah. And I think it's great. I feel like I experienced my 8 minutes the very last day of my life anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the reason I'm still here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, don't overlook it.
Ask for the 8 minutes.
Yep.
And I mean, it's going to be different.
Yes.
It might be a little uncomfortable. Push through.
Yep.
Push through. I promise.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it.
And if you need it, and if you need people, we're always here for you guys.
Yep.
And we're always here to be those 8 minutes for y'all if y'all need it. But with that being said, thank y'all for listening to episode 4. Again, sorry guys for no video on this episode. That's on us. We're gonna try to find a way to make sure we get
we're gonna figure it out.
But we appreciate all the love, all the support. If you listened all the way through, we thank you, and we're here for you guys. So with that being said, without further ado, hit us with the outro.
All right. Go have fun. Live your best life.
Live your best life.
And go get coffee with friends.
See you on the next one.